The Catholic Diocese of Palmerston North is young compared to others. Established on the 6th of March 1980, the diocese serves the central regions of New Zealand's North Island. We'll follow the footsteps of Hiruhārama, Suzanne Aubert. But first, our pilgrimage takes us to the Cathedral of the Holy Spirit, where we meet up with Rick Field to tell us about this stunning sacred space.
One of our original parish priests was Father James McManus, and he was here for 49 years. And for his farewell gift, they wanted something substantial. So they commissioned this out of Carrara marble, 7 tons of marble. In 1963, when this arrived, was right on the cusp of Vatican II. Old world marble altars were to be replaced with what we have now, the Rimu. We use it here as like a divider, and behind there's a little day chapel. And this is here to remind us of his ministry.
We've got the Last
Supper there, yeah.
There, so much exquisite detail.
So these all come from the same studio of a Munich artist, Franz Joseph Zettler, who was one of the preeminent artists, especially for Catholic churches. There are 10 windows, 9 parables from Luke, and 1 Jesus being the vine, we the branches from John. They're very detailed. You can stare at them, many times and find something different each time you look at them.
There are other stained glass windows in the cathedral, crafted by renowned Dublin artist Harry Clarke. Celebrated for the vivid colour and bold detail of his work, Clarke's artistry is beautifully showcased in the windows positioned behind the marble altar. These pieces are truly exceptional. If you find yourself visiting Palmerston North, take a moment to walk to the rear of the cathedral. You won't want to miss the chance to admire these remarkable works of art. There, you will also be able to see the accidentally unique Stations of the Cross.
So he ordered these stations from Rome, but he thought he was ordering in centimetres, but they're actually sized in millimetres. So when they came, they were quite miniature. They were very beautiful if you get up close enough. When we became our diocese, the 6 iwi of the diocese were asked to commission some Maori carvings. So they produced 25 carvings, of which 2 here on the cathedra, the bishop's chair, 22 are on the ends of the pews, and there's 1 out the front of St. Peter. So for the bishop, one of the carvings is of Solomon, and the other one is of Moses. Moses the teacher, Solomon the wise ruler.
Tucked deep in the Whanganui River Valley, Jerusalem, Hiruhārama, is a place shaped by both isolation and connection. A Māori settlement long before European arrival, it became a spiritual and cultural crossroads in the late 19th century. In 1892, Suzanne Aubert, Hiruhārama, arrived here. She came not to convert, but to serve. Fluent in te reo Māori and trained in medicine, she brought with her a rare combination of humility, skill, and deep respect for the people of this land. The church is St. Joseph's and reflects tikanga Māori and the Catholic faith. The piano in St. Joseph's was brought over by Mother Aubert. Pilgrims will find St. Joseph's open, and it is difficult to leave once you are here. Jerusalem is the birthplace of the Sisters of Compassion, a Catholic order founded not in a cathedral, but in a remote valley in New Zealand. Their mission was simple: to care for those no one else would. They ran a home for orphaned and abandoned children. They nursed the sick. They lived in poverty side by side with the people they served. Their work was practical, grounded, and tireless. The values that guided them, compassion, service, and dignity for all, were radical in their time. They remain relevant today, and the Sisters of Compassion maintain this important work in rest homes and a prominent soup kitchen in Wellington. The sisters didn't just offer charity, they built relationships. They listened. They stayed. Suzanne Aubert's legacy is not just in the buildings that remain or the letters she wrote, over 800 of them now preserved in archives. It's in the way she challenged the systems of her time, advocating for Māori health, education and justice. Famously, the New Zealand poet James K. Baxter lived in Jerusalem, and many came to join him, living communally in houses on site. This place still attracts writers and artists with its natural beauty and spiritual atmosphere. Today, Jerusalem is quieter. The sisters no longer live here full time, but the place breathes with memory. Pilgrims come, writers reflect. The river keeps moving. Jerusalem on the Whanganui is not a relic. It's a reminder that compassion is not a feeling, but an action, and that sometimes the most enduring change begins in the most remote of places. In the heart of Hawke's Bay, nestled among the rolling hills of Pakipaki, a quiet revolution once took root. It was not led by force, but by compassion. Suzanne Aubert, Sister Mary Joseph, lived with a vision of unity, healing and service. Her presence would forever shape the spiritual and social fabric of this small Māori settlement, forging bonds that still echo through the land today.
Tell us how local Māori became Catholic.
We became Catholic in the 1840s. Our whole tribe along the eastern seaboard had experienced and were coming out of a prolonged musket war. Our people didn't have muskets, and so those tribes that did have muskets annihilated a lot of our people. So a lot of our people went into the Mahia Peninsula in exile. After 20 years displacement, our people came across Bishop Pompeye and a priest called Father Bati. Bishop Pompeye met a chief called Puhara, and Puhara is a chief from here, chief of our people, and Puhara chose 12 of our hapu, our tribe, to be baptised as Catholic at Mahia. News reached Bishop Pompeye that St. Peter Chanel had been killed, and so he had to leave Mahia and left Father Bati there. For the time that he was left by Pompeye, our people grasped this message of Catholicism and mainly the message of peace. We're descendants of some of those very first Catholics. That faith has been carried all the way through to our Church of the Immaculate Conception at Pakipaki today. Suzanne Aubert used to live here at Pakipaki. She resided here for 2 years. She was known as Sister Mary Joseph or Mary Hohepa. She was just so unique as a woman in Victorian colonial New Zealand. She looked after our people, she cared for our people. She called her years here the happiest years of her life. This is the chief who commissioned the building of this house, and his name's Urupene Puhara. He worked with Suzanne Aubert to build her church. She built the church for the people. He declared that they would remain Catholic. Suzanne Aubert made 2 promises. She promised to build them a church, and she promised to bring them a priest. Those promises were fulfilled with the blessing of the first Church of the Immaculate Conception in 1880 and the arrival of Father Christophe Soulard. What's unusual about these photos, he's always wearing Māori dress. He's very rarely wearing European clothes in the photos. That speaks to the charism of Bishop Pompeye, who said, "Let the Māori receive the gospel as they are. Don't change them. Don't even change their dress."
This is the church that Mary Hohepa built, moved here from the original spot where the new church now stands. Birds have taken over the interior as funds are not available to restore this precious structure. However, if you look through the keyhole, you will see a stunning fresco painted on the wall. Today, the legacy of Suzanne Aubert lives on, in the stories passed down, in the care still offered, and in the enduring spirit of Pakipaki. Her mission was never about recognition, but about love in action. And in this corner of Aotearoa, her light continues to shine.
Our Lady of the Southern Star Abbey is situated in central Hawke's Bay between Dannevirke and Waipukurau, a very rural setting, indeed on a dairy farm. It is the only Cistercian monastery in New Zealand. Cistercians probably more commonly known as Trappists. And the most famous Trappist of all, arguably, Thomas Merton, called his abbey in the United States a powerhouse of prayer. And indeed, that's exactly the feeling one gets here at Southern Star Abbey.
The land, once a working farm, was offered by Thomas and Rosalie Prescott, who dreamed of a place where faith and farming could coexist. Today, that dream lives on. Visitors are welcome, not to tour, but to pause, to breathe, to listen. In a world that moves fast, Kopua invites us to slow down, to rediscover the sacred in the simple. This is not just a monastery, it is a living prayer. What better way to complete a pilgrimage than at a winery?
Now an award-winning winery, Mission Estate in the heart of the Hawke's Bay was established by French missionaries in 1851. And indeed, these beautiful English plane trees were planted by those Marist brothers over 100 years ago.
This wasn't the original site for their winery. Small vines were carried from France as they made their way to Aotearoa, New Zealand, and these were planted at Pakipaki, near the Naruroro River in Hawke's Bay, where they had set up a mission, planting the region's first vineyards to produce sacramental wine. Mounting tension between warring tribes meant that the mission needed to relocate.
Incredibly enough, this building, La Grande Maison as it was named, was cut into 11 sections, rolled on logs, pulled by traction engines over 5 kilometres to its present site. The journey took 2 days, and no doubt a lot of prayer and ingenuity.
What an indulgent way to finish a pilgrimage, as there is a restaurant here, and of course, delicious Mission Estate wine to taste. On a sunny day, visitors can enjoy the gardens, yet inside is a feast for the eyes as well, as everywhere you look, you can witness the Catholic history of the Mission Estate, from the art to the furniture and the fascinating displays that tell the story of this remarkable place. Downstairs in the cellar are pictures of the key people responsible for making this wine, and, more sobering however, is a fountain in memorial of the brothers who tragically died in the Napier earthquake of 1931. Today, Mission Estate stands as New Zealand's oldest winery, blending its rich heritage with modern innovation. From pioneering traditional French winemaking techniques to embracing sustainable practices, the winery honours its past while looking to the future. Each bottle tells a story, a testament to the vision, resilience and dedication that have defined Mission Estate for over 170 years. Bishop Pompallier led not only the Marist brothers to the Hawke's Bay, but also young Suzanne Aubert. We see the legacy of this man defining a culture of mission and compassion in Catholic New Zealand. Perhaps we can also thank the bishop for a very nice glass of wine.